Assalamu alaikum. I hope you are all doing well. Very sorry, it has been a long time. I didn't post anything on my page. Well, today, inshallah, I'm going to talk about one of the questions that I'm always getting lately concerning the idea of plagiarism. I get questions like, for example, sir, what is the acceptable percentage of plagiarism? I get also questions like, for example, have I plagiarized doing that or that? So these questions, I do understand that students are very concerned concerning this. Well, what should I say? Let's try to talk about plagiarism, but in this case, let me say it even in Arabic. من شرح عندي تعريفات الكتب and I just tell you what is plagiarism because you all know that, but at least we are going to talk about what you should avoid and in case you have maybe you did something wrong, how can you fix it? So دائما انا في الفيديو نتاعي نحاول انني نكون مع الطالب نحاول نفهم الطالب كيفاش يعني باش ما نطيحوش في المشاكل. So it's all about the students in this case. So plagiarism, what is it? It's simply it is academic dishonesty, but how it is manifested. Let's talk about it. When you are writing your master dissertation, it's divided into two parts. You have the theoretical part, and you have the practical part. Most of the time, when we talk about plagiarism, or when it is plagiarism is detected, is concerning the theoretical part, because practical part is often something new, حاجة جديدة راك تدير فيها. So it's very difficult to plagiarize there, but still it can happen. So, uh, what's happened at the level of theory? Usually students what they do, if they copy paste, كيما نقولوا احنا ديك جايحة خلاص, you copy paste something, that's plain plagiarism, and that's something is going really to make you embarrassed, trust me. And how can we fix it? كيفاش نعالج هذه copy paste? Well, the easy solution will be if you copy paste something. Let's say, for example, I have to define a concept. مثلا حاب نعرف anxiety. I have to include anxiety on my paper. I'm going to take some definitions. So the easiest way is to copy paste. If you copy paste that plagiarism, if you add a reference, and even if a reference is there, but still copy paste, there is something, quotation marks. Because if something is not yours, you took it directly, so you need to put it as a quote. But here there is a problem, like there is a limit to how many quotes you can use. For example, as a supervisor, I don't like to see so many quotes because that would indicate that this student simply doesn't know how to write. So we need to resort to paraphrasing. So what is paraphrasing? Paraphrasing in this sense is you are going to change the language, how it is said, but it's still kind of leaving the main idea there. But as you can see, it's not your idea. That remains the idea of someone else. So that's why we need to credit that person and the other reference. هنا ما كان حتى مشكل. Many students they do that. وراه المشكل درك. Some students, instead of just paraphrasing like definitions, but still the glue of what is inside, it's their language. No, they kind of bring everything and they paraphrase everything and put it in the literature review. If you paraphrase everything and you put in literature review, it's kind of you have done kind of repetition. احنا راح تولي boring. Technically, you did not plagiarize, but what you did is simply kind of using someone else's work and you use it in the literature review. And this is kind of a problem too. So what do we need in this case? In this case, we always need our language. We need our contribution there. For example, you have to know that a literature review serves specific function or function. Let's say, for example, my literature review. In my literature review, I want to talk about the different concepts and I want to make comparison. So at the level of introduction, the introduction, I say this study is comparative study, and I'm going to advance several concepts and see the differences and similarities between them. By saying this, and of course, when you are defining, definitions are not yours and you simply are going to state. تسمى الحاجة اللي نوصي بها دائما الطالب, especially at the level of introduction, that should be yours introduction, because at the level of introduction you tell me what's the purpose behind writing your literature review. And the purpose behind writing your literature review is always unique to the topic you have selected. So it's impossible that you are going to take it from somewhere else. And this is one of the ways that teachers can identify plagiarism just by reading the introduction. This is something you really should be aware of. نروح لنقطة واحدة أخرى, which is the problem of of using software AI etc. انا بالكم دركا بلي طورنا عندنا الاي اي عندكم لي سيت ينجم يدير paraphrase. So I get some of the question, if I use a website to paraphrase, is it plagiarism? Well, technically it's not plagiarism, because if the software does it or you do it, it's kind of the same thing. But and here the problem. I may use I get a definition and paraphrase it by software, and there is no problem. Maybe there's no problem with that. But sometimes when when you take everything and you start paraphrasing, and it's like you're doing nothing, well, technically you may get away with it. The teacher may not identify plagiarism, but ethically it is wrong. So that's why you need to fix it. We're going to talk about how you're going to fix it. So, as a supervisor, am I against using software? No, I'm not against it. I usually advise my students to use such kind of software. Why? Because sometimes they write something, and what they wrote is really good, like really good. But I say, okay, you can make it better by putting it in an application or software, and maybe it's going to enhance the style. So in this case, I don't have any problem. In fact, as a supervisor, I do advise my students to do that. But when it comes a problem, when you bring something that is not your writing style and you paraphrase it just to get away from plagiarism. But still as a teacher, I can identify your writing style, especially when we find discrepancies between the theoretical part and the practical part. So this is something you really should aware. Can you fix it? Yes, you can fix it. You still have time, maybe because many universities now have postponed at least exams. So you do have time. What can you do? At least you bring all what you have written and try to inject your language there. What have you done? What is it all about? Especially at the level of introduction and the level of conclusion. So this is something in order to avoid embarrassment. You don't want to stand in the day of the defense and you will be accused by plagiarizing everything. This is something very, very important. And of course, I won't forget that you need to communicate with the supervisor, of course, because as I told you, I myself, I allow my students to use all these applications or any tool to help them, not to use it to I don't know, to cheat, because this is a way of cheating when you just use paraphrasing. And of course, you can also you go to your literature review and try to modify. For example, let's say at the level of introduction, you try to say, you state it clearly. Why have you written, or why are you writing this literature? For example, in this case, I'm writing it to, let's say, for example, to talk about the current state of the literature concerning a specific matter. So by adding just touches with your language, trust me, you are avoiding problem. Of course, I said in the conclusion, plain copy, pasting, don't use it. That's because it's a problematic from now. Number two, if you are using application, good, but make sure you are using just to paraphrase definitions and things that you can't simply use your own language. And of course, the more you are going to use your language, the more it's going to be to make it personalized, and this your writing style is going really to show up. And this is something so important. So what can I say? Good luck to all of you, inshallah. I hope you are it's going to pass, trust me, because it's a really good day when you defend your dissertation and you graduate. That's something to celebrate. So thank you so much, and inshallah there will be inshallah in the next video, inshallah, we are going to talk about what you should include. I mean, what you should include in the dissertation, like at least the final touches, something that I have to help you in this regard. And we'll be also talking about what you should include in your presentation. That's also in the near future, inshallah. So thank you so much and see you soon. Please don't forget to subscribe, to share to your friends. So goodbye.